Just a quick introduction to who you are. I know you're a retailer, a developer, you're involved with the rejuvenation of properties around the city. Give us a quick intro.
Well, I started out as a cameraman and by default kind of fell into property, strangely enough.
Okay.
And we started with 44 Stanley Avenue,
which is a great inner city precinct in the Auckland Park kind of area. Not so much inner city, but an old industrial property.
Exactly. It was really dilapidated and broken down. I saw real potential there and told everyone this was going to be a fantastic little shopping center. Most people thought I was mad. My partner, Mark Batchelor, thought, no, I had something more than anything, energy, very little else, no real knowledge of the game, but got into it, poured passion into it, and 44 Stanley is, 8 years later, that's what it is today. So we find old buildings, give them a boost, give them some love and passion, and build them up.
Let's just talk about Joburg a bit, because this gets watched obviously by people in this region, but also from all around Africa. So, I mean, some people think of Johannesburg as like a dental cavity, you know, like the worst kind of city imaginable, horrible, dangerous. It's also quite unfortunately distributed, Joburg, with, you know, multiple city centers and areas that ought to be where infrastructure is good, doing well, not doing so well. What's your sense of the city and then like the commercial opportunity here?
Well, I think the downtown Johannesburg is quite a complicated answer to give you in one little shot. But what we have is a great center that is probably the most valuable asset on the African continent. But the big money, or a lot of the money, has migrated northwards, leaving this cavity, as you call it. But that cavity has opened opportunity for others to come in with a little bit of vision and kind of try and reinvigorate the city. So this has happened to quite a large degree, where they've taken buildings and they've converted them from, say, offices to dwellings,
right,
where people can live. With dwellings come an opportunity for retail. And the more dwelling, the more retail. So there is opportunity. It's not at the Sandton level, yeah.
Okay, but on that score, I mean, is it not still true to say, I haven't checked for a while, that some of those inner city, central Joburg retail outlets, like the Edgars and the Woolies and all of that, those are like humming on weekends. In fact, they turn over, you know, about as much as any of those stores anyway. So the idea that the sort of city centre is a no-go area is just something that sort of upper middle class people think. In reality, absolutely, there's a lot going on down there.
Absolutely. I mean, I believe, and I don't know that this is fact, but the spa in Gandhi Square is the most profitable spa in the country, or does the greatest turnover.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yes, absolutely. And there's a market, and it's directed at a specific kind of demographic.
Okay, just talking about retail then specifically, because I was thinking about this when I was talking about retailers to an investment analyst a few weeks ago. For one reason or another, South Africa is one of those countries where you've got these big corporate retailers. So you've got like big listed companies that own these mega stores and so on. So the space for smaller operators is not that great. Compared to, say, countries elsewhere in Africa or in India and so on, where, you know, a lot of those big guys either haven't been allowed to get in or haven't developed that much traction. So is that true in this country, that it's quite tough to be in sort of retail like clothing and that sort of thing, because the big guys are just too big and too all powerful?
I think it's very tough to be in clothing retail if you're not an outstanding brand, or if you're not somebody very specific and special. And that's where I think my properties kind of fall into a nice little niche, is that I have people that are aesthetically kind of interested in what their entire being and what they want, how they want to spend their days is in a great little environment. And they want to give us a very special product, but they're not a big brand. So there are these opportunities, but you have to be highly specialized.
Well, let's just shift now to the restaurant space, because we know that there are a lot of entrepreneurs out there who think restaurants are like a great way to, you know, sort of retire out of a corporate life into that. Restaurateurs, as far as I can tell, have a hard life, bad hours.
I don't really want to talk about restaurants. They are the most difficult business to run, I think.
Yeah.
And they don't really gain in value as, say, property does, or something that can accumulate.
So it's very tough to like build up one and sell it, for example.
Well, I think some people have got the knack of doing it, you know, and as we know, we've got the Vida cafes, which is not really a restaurant, but there are brandable restaurants.
Right.
Vovatellos or franchises. So Vovatello is one it was quite an easy bohemian chic what people are kind of going for, a more authentic experience. But and restaurants, count me out.
And restaurants, I mean, because obviously if you're doing precinct type developments, there's got to be a combination of, you know, sort of physical retail, goods, clothing, blah, 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 restaurants, that all works, and you get the nighttime, daytime traffic. But how does Joburg's restaurants compare? I mean, is Joburg a wasteland in terms of eating options? Or in your opinion, are those people from Cape Town who'd say Joburg's horrible just being snobbish?
No, I'm not sure that Johannesburg is as well known for its food as Cape Town, but it's certainly, as we go, we're getting more and more really good eating spots. And I think we have a few of them at my establishments. And yeah, I think we've got great food in Johannesburg and restaurants.
Okay, so now the business opportunity you've alluded to here is that you can find properties which are kind of a little bit run down, a destination. I know you're looking at a new one in the Kramerville area. So does that kind of thing work? And is that something you would encourage other, you know, sort of entrepreneurial people with a property and a sort of a retailing bent to take a look at?
Yeah, I think the golden moment has kind of passed. I mean, South Africa came out of apartheid and went through this kind of, went through the doldrums, the whole economic thing fell flat, and then there was opportunity. There were buildings kind of in great proximity to town and to other places where there were opportunities. I'm not saying they're not opportunities, but I think they're fewer and further between. But I think, yes, I mean, if you're out there and hunting and you've got a great idea and a great vision to do something with the building, you build it, and I think the people will come.
Because the idea of doing new developments in new areas at the sort of outer extremity of the city, which is growing fast, seems, you know, to be the thing that the more conventional kind of guys go with. It's the idea of turning something that was a bit of a lost space into something creative and exciting that is more interesting.
Absolutely, and also you can pick it up at a smaller price tag, as has happened in every country across the globe.
And as a matter of interest, do you always have to buy the properties and sink the capital in, or can you do deals with people that they'll continue to own it and you'll just take on an operating role?
No, we've bought the properties, but and we've bought them. Obviously, they've been financed, but we've gone in with a great idea and we've kind of geared it. We've never done a kind of a rental deal on a property.
Yeah. Put your hands on it. Get the margins.
Own it.
Right. That's all we've got time for.
Great.
Time flew by.
Perfect.
Thanks for coming in, and we'll stay in touch with your projects.